because I tend to get enthusiastic. So it didn't scare you off, though. You're still here 2 years later. So, which is great.
No, it was awesome. It didn't scare me off at all. It made me more passionate.
Didn't you guys get to meet on the cruise, Joanne?
Yeah, we did. We did. And then he spoke at our Super Saturday and had me crying. Well, had the whole room crying. It was awesome.
You guys have
well, there'll be no crying tonight. That's all I can tell everybody. We're not going to be crying tonight. Tonight we're going to be like wanting to stop our feet and light a match and set the freaking world on Beachbody fire. That's what we're going to do tonight. So
we're going to be like, we just did 5 shots of E&E after we get off this call. We're not going to be able to sleep. That's the only thing about team calls so late, especially after that.
For sure.
So we can get started. So basically, I'm going to give Tommy the floor. If you guys haven't heard from him before, we met at Leadership, actually my first year at Leadership. So I think that was 2 years ago, little around there. And then we ended up just talking one night for like hours and hours. And I was just picking his brain and asking him all these questions and getting advice. And after that, we connected on Facebook, and since then, he's just been someone that, I can go to and ask, questions and bounce ideas off of. And as we kind of have been going on this theme of, having other successful coaches on our calls, I feel like it's been really great to hear from other people, because the way they say it may present to you and it just may click, and the way I said it, it didn't. And it's great to hear the information from people that are not me. And, so I'm excited to have him tonight. He is, first of all, a husband. He's a father of one little girl right now, but he has twins on the way, a boy and a girl. And I don't know, when is she due?
Well, she has the twins on the way. I just contributed. So.
Yeah, well, Ashley.
She's 20 weeks pregnant right now. So she's due 20 weeks from now. So.
Okay. And they just found out that they're having a boy and a girl.
Little boy, little girl. Yeah.
He's a football coach, still does that because he loves it, and he's a $50,000 Beachbody Challenge winner, 2-time top 10 elite coach, 22 lifetime diamonds, 47th member of the Millionaires Club, and that's pretty much what the accolades that we have. But more important than all of that, he's very passionate about Beachbody, and our rubies were like, and then we get on the phone the other day to talk about this call, and we're like, and we're just like getting really excited. So I'm really excited to have him on the call, because his passion oozes out of him, and I hope that you can catch some of that from him. So take it away.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited to be here. I mean, guys, just so you guys know, I mean, Marissa, I've been around for 8 years as far as Beachbody goes. So as far as the network goes, I mean, how many of you are like brand new the last few months? I know that there's a couple of you, right? So you guys are newer. I've been around since like the beginning of time, since before Facebook, since before Shakeology, since before challenge packs. In fact, like challenge packs and challenge groups, I was probably part of the brainstorming session with the company that got all of that created, right? Like challenge group system and all that stuff. So I'm excited because but honestly, here's the thing. I talked to literally in my time as a coach, 8 years I've been a coach. I've talked to and met thousands of coaches, not just on my team. I mean, I have thousands on my team, but I've met and maybe mentored in some way or talked to thousands of coaches. Marissa is one of my favorite. There's something very special about her as far as, I mean, she's smart, but she also has this sincere heart that she truly wants what's best for you guys. And that's really like every time we have a conversation, it's never about her. It's always about her team. And I really connect with that. And that's, I think, one of the reasons I respect her the most is because, she just wants to make sure that she's leading you guys in a way that you have the greatest chance for success. As a high school football coach, I can relate to that because I know, like with the kids that I coach football with, that really is, that was the first thing that I learned as a football coach was it's not about me. It's not about how much I know. It's about how much I can get the kids to know. It's not about how good of a player I was. It's about how good I can help this kid become or this team become as 17-year-old kids. Well, the same is true in Beachbody. Everybody understand that. And I think that there's something that happens along the way where for a while you're trying to be the best player, okay? You're trying to be the best player. So some of you, you're brand new. You're trying to just hold your worth, right? Like I heard is it Arthur, right? like, you know, just signed up his first freaking client, which is awesome. I was excited for it because I remember what that feels like to sign up my first person, right? And so here's what I would tell you is this: don't overcomplicate this thing. It never changes. Our job is pretty freaking simple. It's to find somebody, help them, wake up tomorrow, do the same thing, you know? And I've just been doing that for 8 years, you know, which is different than a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches come in and they'll do it for 8 minutes. And because they don't have their first customer yet, they decide to put everything in the shit can and say, I'm not doing it anymore, right? So a little bit about me. I do have a topic I want to cover. That wasn't it, just so you guys know. I'm a high school football coach. You can probably hear that in my voice, right? I mean, I don't know any other way to be. Every time I do a call, every time I get on a stage to speak, and I've been in front of 5,000 to 6,000 people at one time at our national convention speaking on topics. Every time I tell myself, calm down, slow down, speak softly, it's okay. You don't have, right? And then all of a sudden, like I start talking and something takes over my mouth, right? And my level, okay? I can't help it. That's who I am. The lesson for you in that is this, and I want you to write this down, is this: always authentically be who you are. Don't pretend to be somebody you're not, okay? So one of the things that I think that are best that you can do is authentically embrace who you are and authentically embrace the reasons behind why you believe in coaching, why you want to help people, why this is something that you said yes to begin with, okay? And don't be afraid. I often think this too is, and I'm not even into the topic yet, so this is crazy, but I often think this, and this is just from my 8 years of experience, is this, that we all have a message that we need to present, okay? And I don't know what your message is, okay? My message typically comes in one of two ways. It's like the fight against obesity, the fight because I was 280 pounds. I lost 115 pounds with P90X, right? Which was shocking because I could finally see my feet for the first time in like 30 years. You know, I could look down and see my feet. I was actually wearing shirts that I didn't feel like a wet seal in. You know, they weren't like skin tight. That was kind of crazy. And then the company decides not only to give me $50,000. So I went from being this morbidly obese, super fat guy that was like, you know, doing a lot of things like smoking pot and eating Taco Bell like out of 2 bags. Like I would order enough Taco Bell that I couldn't get just 1 bag. It would be like 2 bags, $18. And I would tell myself, well, I'm going to eat some tonight and I'll save the rest for lunch tomorrow. And that was always a line of crap because by midnight it was all gone, right? That was my life. And I spent more time loving food than I did people at that point. I was depressed. I was staying at home. I didn't go out and socialize. I was socially withdrawn because I was so fat and I was so miserable. And then I found P90X. I lost 120 pounds. The company puts me in this. I enter the contest. I win 50 grand. All of a sudden, I'm in the P90X commercial, which was freaking nuts. If you want to see my after picture in my silver underwear, just log on to your coach website, beachbodycoach.com. And I am on your join button. I have the tattoo to prove it. You'll see the tattoo in the picture right there. Okay, so you know it's me. And then I decided to become a coach. I didn't want to become a coach. I want you guys to understand something. How many of you, when you first got approached about coaching, you really were hesitant? You didn't really want to say yes, or you didn't say yes the first time, right? You were kind of like, I don't know, let me think about it. And then you thought about it. Or you said yes, but you didn't really do anything with it. Okay, I always say this, write this down. There's a difference between a sign-up date and a start date. Does that make sense? There's a difference, and you'll find this with your coaches. You'll sign people up, and they'll decide to start like 6 years later. You know, that's what they'll do. Like 6 years later, they're like, okay, I'm ready to go. But there's a difference. For me, I decided to become a coach, but at the time I was running an insurance agency. I was coaching high school football. I was president of the Rotary Club in my local hometown. I didn't really have a vision for coaching. I didn't know what it could be, other than I knew that I wasn't fat. I knew that I loved the community of people, and I knew that I had people already asking me about it because my results were there, right? So that was my story coming in. I don't know what your story coming in is, but we're going to help craft that tonight a little bit for you. But I was hesitant to become a coach, and then I decided to say yes. And then 2 years later, I kind of dabbled in it. So for 2 years, I was so focused on retailing and just kind of getting people into programs that I wasn't focused on the team building side, all right? And 2 years in, here I was a diamond coach, you know, like I was probably helping enough people to make Success Club every month, but 2 years in, I was making like $200-300 a week. And I had buddies that were making like $5,000 a week and $4,000 a week. And then all of a sudden, like I started realizing that I'm like, well, crap, like they're no better than me. What are they doing that's different than me? Right. And that's when it really started hitting me that, well, they were building teams. They had teams of people. I was just me. I was me. I was like Braveheart, but I was the only one on the side of the hill wanting to go fight this mission against obesity. I thought I had to be the one to help every single person get their fitness results. And I didn't yet understand the very real impact of a team and exponentially helping more people through having a team of people. So I want to talk to you tonight really about the team building side of what we do. So write this down. I'm going to make our business really simple. We get paid two ways, pretty much two ways. I mean, there's like 17 different ways you can earn money, but they all stem from these two things, okay? Number one is retailing, okay? Is retailing. That's the first way. And in retailing, that's when like we're like, hey, go build a challenge group. Hey, go get people into a challenge pack. Hey, make Success Club, right? And you're doing those things, okay? And you're helping people get started on their fitness journey. Everybody understand that? And you're gonna, and listen, your first year in this business, your first year as a coach, the majority of your income is gonna come from and for your pocketbook. And that's the team building side of what we do. So write this down, team building. Okay? Team building. And for a long time, I kind of fought this concept, right? For a long time, it was like I kind of resented these people who were so focused on team building because they were making all this money. And here I was fighting the good fight against obesity, and my heart was truly in it. And then all of a sudden, like the vice president of the company, I was sitting down with him, and he's like, Tommy, let me ask you a question. How many people do you want to help lose weight this year? And I said, you know, I don't know, as many people as I possibly can, I guess. And he goes, well, put a number on it. I mean, do you want to help 10 or 10,000? Which number sounds better to you? And I said, well, 10,000. But there's no way that I could individually help 10,000. How many of you know that you could never help 10,000 people just by yourself, right? Like 10,000 people in 1 year, in a calendar year. That would mean that you're signing up like, what, 30 people a day, every day for 365 days. Like, that's never going to freaking happen, no matter who you are. Even if you're like super coach, okay? Even if you're like Lindsay Matway or one of the top coaches in the network, you're never going to sign up 10,000 people yourself in a year, okay? But if you went and built a team of 1,000 people, could they all sign up 10? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, they could, right? You could get a team of people and say, hey, let's all go out and help 3 people a year or 3 people a month. If you had 1,000 coaches all helping 3 a month, that would be 3,000 people a month getting started, which is exponentially greater than anything that I could possibly do alone. That's when it really hit me. For my reasons for being a coach were really focused around my desire to fight obesity and that mission to help other people. But I came from obesity. Not all of you can understand that because you haven't been that. That's not why you came in. Does that make sense? My story is different than your story. But the reality is this: if I truly wanted to fight that, I needed to get over myself and realize I couldn't do it alone, and that there's a reason why team builders get paid drastically more money than retailers. And it's because they have a drastically greater influence on the number of lives being changed. Does everybody understand that? Okay. So, I mean, think about this. I want, you guys understand that concept. I want you to write these things down. Write these down. These are some things that hopefully help you understand what I'm saying. Is this isn't about one person doing everything. It's about a lot of people doing a little, doing their parts and chipping in. Okay. And once you can grasp that, so let me explain this in Success Club terms. Okay, what do you think is better and easier to do? Better and easier, and helps more people. You trying to score 100 Success Club points in a month, or you having a team of 20 coaches that all score 5. They both equal 100 points. Does that make sense? They both equal 100. Okay, but The second one is this: you're a hell of a lot less stressed out, because for you to get that 100 points yourself, you're going to be freaking working 15 hours a day. And I don't want that for you. Marissa does not want that for you. Nobody wants that for you. You got jobs, you got families, you got other things to do. Like, this should not be all consuming in your life. This should be your part-time deal that is like a 10-hour deal on the side every week. Does that make sense? Okay. It shouldn't be like 80 hours a week for you. So, but now if you're going to try to score 100 points a month and do it all yourself, then it's going to be that for you. And it'll wreck your freaking life. You'll get burnout with it. And after 6 months of that or a year of that, you'll be like, screw this. I don't want it anymore because it's all I do. And we don't want that for you. We would rather build a team of people. Let me tell you something. I've made Success Club now 64 out of 65 months, right? But it never comes without me also enrolling coaches during the month. You guys understand that, okay? Because I know that my primary function is to keep the marching army of people coming in and moving. Does that make sense? Because even if I go out and have a bad month, other people are still getting help because I've got a moving army of people with me that are also helping, all right? So retailing versus team building. For the first year, now I want you to understand this. The highest paid retailer in our network made like $75,000, and that's a lot of money, right? Like, how many of you agree? 75 grand in a year, a lot of money, okay? The highest paid team builder last year made $2.4 million, right? Drastically different. And virtually with the same amount of work, okay? I want you to also write this down. You decide what story you tell, and the story that you tell the most often is what you're gonna get, right? What you feed will flourish, what you neglect will die. So you decide what story you're going to tell. Are you going to tell the fitness story? Are you going to tell the coach story? And listen, there's nothing. I tell both. I look at my job as it's both. I need to help people in both ways. That's my part in this mission. That's what I do. So if you go to and sometimes I do it in a way that shares both in the same thing. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see a post that I made today about how excited I was that I worked with these two people that I helped lose weight. And then I got into the stuff about coaching. And I hit both things, and I shared the story both of fitness and of coaching, okay? But you decide what story to tell. And I will tell you this. The story that gets told the most wins, okay? The story that gets told the most wins. Now, if you're going to be a fitness-first person, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, okay? I do that quite a bit. You can't forget the back end of the deal. And the vision for every single person that we bring in is this. So, if I enroll a challenger, it's not just about the 2 points. I don't put 2 points on their forehead. I don't give a crap about the $50 that I made on their challenge pack, okay? Here's what I care. I care that I do a great job with that person and give them a great experience so that they get results, and then they get equally as excited as I did when I first started, right? So to me, they're a coach in training. Anytime I enroll, write this down, your challengers are coaches in training, and your only job with that individual is to train them on the vital behavior of being a product of the product. That's all you're going to do with them for that first 30 days is groom them on being a product of the product. Because if you can nail that down with them, they got 33% all the way towards getting all three vital behaviors. Everybody understand that? Okay? So groom them to be a product of the product. Write this down. Coaching is our number, write this down, number 2. Coaching is our number 1 product. This is what was so hard for me to grasp, and that hopefully I can help you grasp this tonight, is this. It's really easy to introduce people to the things that are tangible, like a bag of shakes, like a set of P90X, or like Beachbody On Demand where they're getting a workout, right? The tangible products that we have, okay? But coaching is a product. And it is our number 1 product. And here's why, okay? This is why, all right? We don't want to just get people started on a healthy fitness lifestyle and then 30, 45, 60 days later, they completely fizzle out. And I know this. Coaches have a much greater chance of living a healthier lifestyle for the long run than non-coaches, period, because they're part of the freaking community and they've become what they're surrounding themselves with. Okay, my former fat ass would be a hell of a lot more fat right now if I wasn't surrounded with people like you who were talking about fitness and talking about health. I get on the phone with Marissa and we have a really awesome conversation, not just about coaching, but about food, which is my biggest struggle. If I weren't a coach, I would never have those conversations. You guys understand that? So first of all, we do them a great service by bringing them into the community because they've become embedded, and fitness and health become embedded. And if that really is part of our mission, if that's a core part of our mission, then we know people become what they're surrounded with. They're more likely to, the people who stay on Shakeology the longest are coaches. The people who stay in their fitness program the longest are coaches. And if you're like me, you're sick of seeing people stop and start and stop and start and stop and start and stop and start and bitch about how it never works. Well, it's never going to work until they get ingrained in a community of people who are encouraging, like-minded, moving in the direction they want to move in. Not just as like someone who bought a freaking challenge pack and does it for 20 days. I'm talking like they're all in, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is this, that coaches have a greater chance, it's greater life change. As much as P90X changed my life, right, from a physical standpoint and from an emotional standpoint, because it gave me confidence, it gave me the ability to do things, it didn't change my life as drastically as coaching. Not even close. Like the personal development side of what we do, okay, the money side of what we do, right? Like all of a sudden, like now I'm sitting here, like, you know, here I am, 7 years, you know, you got to think 8 years ago, I couldn't get off the couch unless it was to grab another taco. Do you guys understand that? And now all of a sudden, here I am, 8 years later, okay, growing a family. I never thought I'd be a family man. I came from a broken family. I hated the concept of marriage. I hated the thought of being a father. I'm a father, which to me, like, take all the freaking money away, take my weight loss away. You're never going to take my kids away. You're never going to take my wife away. Like, I got something that I never would have had. I'm telling you, it never would have came to me had I not become a coach, okay? There's just a greater impact, chance of impacting people's lives on such a drastic level if they become a coach and start doing what coaches do, including the personal development side, including the financial side. I've learned more about money. Here I am now thinking about, okay, if I take X amount of dollars and I invest it over the course of 20 years, 20 years from now, just the interest on that money could potentially build an orphanage every year, that even in my death. You guys understand that, right? I would have never thought about stuff like that 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But it will drastically change your life and drastically change the lives of other people if you give it a chance. And if you truly kind of embrace all that we do as coaches, it's just greater life change for people. Coaching is our #1 product. I didn't understand this until Jeff Hill, the vice president of international sales, came to my hometown one time. I was doing a fit club. This was like 6 years ago. I was doing a fit club, and we had like 40, 50 people. We'd all get together once a week and just do a workout. It was really cool, right? I loved it. Awesome. But all we talked about was the fitness side. We never talked about the coaching side. And he said to me, it's kind of funny, you don't talk about coaching, and coaching really is the #1 thing that we do. Like, that's the #1 thing we need to be sharing. And this is when it hit me that I was really good at sharing the fitness side, but I was really terrible at sharing the coaching side. And I needed to get good at sharing. How many of you agree you need to get better at sharing the coaching side of what we do and putting coaching in front of people? See, all your hands are going up. Listen, you're not the only one. I sucked completely at that for 2 years. The first 2 years that I did it, then it clicked, okay? And now we have a team of literally thousands of people. There's people in my team who are helping people. I don't even know who they are, and people are getting helped. Does that make sense? And so it serves my purpose. And I know this, even if I go have a bad month, my bills are going to be paid. How many of you want that? Like 2, 3, 4 years from now, right? Like, okay, you know, even if you have a bad month, but see, if all you do is retail, you go have a bad month, your income's going to get cut, 50% because you slipped a little bit. You guys understand that? Part of having a team is building the security and the foundation from the income side where, you know what? I mean, I still make Success Club. I don't have to. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm still going to make a lot of money, more than I want to make this month, whether I make Success Club or not. I make Success Club because I believe that's part of my job. It's a non-negotiable in my life. Do you guys understand that? Okay? I'm at 2 coaches, 11 points this month. I don't say that to brag. I say that to tell you that I'm not going to ask you to do things that I'm not doing myself. You guys understand that? But not until you guys understand that you can't just write this down. You need non-negotiables. Okay? Write this down. The importance of non-negotiables. So some of you, how many of you have set Success Club as a non-negotiable? Like, you make Success Club every month, right? Okay, great, awesome. Hands up, freaking love you guys, good. You got the first step down. But you might be missing the second step. The second step is this: how many of you have a non-negotiable for how many coaches you're going to enroll this month? Okay, Marissa does. All right. Nobody else. And look, I love your honesty. I love your honesty. Okay. To me, if our job is twofold, retailing and team building, and it is, okay, it is. Right now, you're doing 50% of it if you go out and make Success Club, but you're not focused on getting coaching in front of people and bringing more Army members to the cause. Imagine if our military didn't recruit new members. You guys understand that? How much risk would we have as a nation if our military stopped recruiting new members to the military? Well, we are the military in charge of the most powerful preventative medicine ever invented in the history of the world. We are part of an army of people, okay, who are the forefront of the prevention side of illness in our country. And we need more people to help in that fight. Do you guys understand that? Hey, the hospitals are recruiting more people on the treatment side. We're on the prevention side. You guys understand that? We need more people. So it's not enough for us to just go score points. It's not enough. It might feel good temporarily. I'm going to tell you right now. It'll feel good temporarily. You'll get a temporary high from the fact that you scored 7 points or 17 points or however many points you got. Okay, but in the long run, there's this second part that we also need to ingrain into what we do. So my suggestion is this. Start with a minimum of 2 new coaches a month. Minimum. Okay? Like, if you want to be like an elite level coach, it needs to be 5 coaches a month. 5 to 8. Okay? That's what they're doing. I had 3 years where I was doing 8 a month. And the only way that I was doing 8 a month was this. Everybody got asked about coaching. Everybody was, I'm like, hey, I want you to write this down. Write this down. This is all you need to learn. Screw everything else. I want you to write this down. Have you ever thought about being a coach? That's all you got to know. That's the first way. If they don't know anything about Beachbody, write this down. Have you ever thought about making extra money working part-time from home? Do you know how many people have thought about that? How many of you, before Beachbody, thought about, I remember like clicking down through like online looking for ways to make money. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to fill out these questionnaires and they'll pay me like $1.50 per questionnaire to fill out. And if I do 100 of them, that's $150 a week or whatever, right? I mean, I remember like I worked at the carry out part-time, at the local like little carry out where people come in and buy smokes and everything, making like $8.50 an hour, just to make extra money. And then my dumb ass, I would take the $100 I make and spend it on lottery tickets like a fool. That was the old me. I would never do that now. You guys understand that? So how many of you have thought about other ways to make money besides your primary income? Before Beachbody, you were curious about making extra money. Well, that's a great thing to ask people. All right. But I want you to write this down. Okay. Valuing this opportunity. And I truly believe this. I truly believe that we don't put coaching in front of people because we don't value it. It's easy to value Shakeology because we know how we feel when we drink it, right? We know that we poop once a day. We know that our hair grows better. We know that people are off cholesterol meds. We know that people lose weight faster. There are tangible, evident things that go along with Shakeology. So it's easy to value that. It's easy to value. How many of you believe in the value of the Beachbody On Demand package that people get 15, 20 different workout programs for $40 a quarter? Like, that's a sick value, right? So how many of you don't hesitate to talk about Beachbody On Demand with people because you think it's a steal? You think it's a bargain, right? So you more willingly put it in front of people. Let me tell you something. I tell everybody about Beachbody On Demand because I'm like, they're an idiot if they say no. It's like the most affordable fitness package anybody can have, $38.97 a quarter for $3,000 worth of stuff. That's a steal. They're stealing it. So it's a lot easier when you think they're stealing it to put it in front of people. Well, here's the other thing that I believe. I believe that the price to get in for coaching is a freaking steal. I've learned how to value coaching. Okay, I've learned how to understand the fact of this. If you guys were going to start a Chipotle franchise, right? It would cost $425,000 for you to open a Chipotle franchise. $425,000 for you to partner with that company and open a brick and mortar business that would take you 7 to 10 years to break even on. 7 to 10 years for you to break even on that. You'd have to manage an entire employee base. You'd have to manage inventory. You'd have to manage incoming and outgoing expenses, okay? We offer the chance to partner with the #1 health, fitness, weight loss company in the world, okay? for the cost to start is $140 to $205 depending on what program people get, right? To me, but here, this is why we devalue it. This is why we don't give it the credit it deserves, because it's so cheap to get in. $140 to get started in a business, $140 in a business that you don't have to keep the inventory, you don't have to make the products, you don't have to package the labeling, you don't have to warehouse any of the stuff, you don't have to collect the money due, you don't have to pay the employee base. All you got to do is recommend it to people, enroll people, and all you know is Thursday morning when you wake up, there's money in the bank. That's a hell of a business model compared to I mean, you can't even start a t-shirt. I started a t-shirt business in college where I went and bought like 300 t-shirts and I had them print something on it. Probably wasn't very good. It was something I was selling to college students, so it's not appropriate for this call tonight for me to tell you what was on the t-shirt. But it was like $6 a t-shirt to get them made, and I got like 300 of them. That was $1,800 for me to go sell them at $10 a piece and make $3,000, $1,200 of profit. But I had to invest $1,800 freaking dollars to buy a bunch of t-shirts to go knocking on door to door in the freaking dorms. Okay, the fact that we can get started in a business, the upside. I want you to think about it. How many people do you know that own a restaurant will ever make a seven-figure income? Never. Even have a chance to do it? Never. They never will, and they'll be a slave to that restaurant till the day they freaking die. Right? Just like the Chinese guy at the Happy Garden, who every time you go in there, he's in there 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, right? Here's what I'm going to tell you, man. I mean, the upside, do you know what and this is mind-blowing. And listen, this isn't all about the money, but I think it's important that we discuss this because the upside potential of what we do is so drastically great, okay, that the maximum you can earn, I want you to write this down, the max I can earn as a Beachbody coach, the maximum paycheck that you could earn in a given year, if you capped out the comp plan and you did all 20 whatever centers that you're allowed to have, okay, and you maxed them all out, is $15.6 million. Now, I don't know what piece of $15.6 freaking million that you need to be okay, but it ain't the whole damn thing, right? I'm not even saying that you got to go be, like Christine Dwyer, who made $2.4 million, okay? But what if you were 10% of her? How life-changing is that? That's pretty life-changing, right? Does that make sense? What does that do for you? Okay? But we don't value the opportunity because it's such a low skin in the game cost to get in, $140. I've spent $140 on a Saturday night. I don't remember. How many of you have done that before, right? How many of you have spent $140 on a trip to the shopping mall on stuff that still has the tags and it's hanging in your closet? Come on. I'm on a call full of women and one dude. I know you guys got stuff in your closet with tags on it. I'm married, remember? Okay? My point is this. Just because it only costs you $140, don't treat this like a $140 business. If you had spent $500,000 to open a Beachbody franchise, how hard would you work to ensure that you get that money back? Right? It's all in your perception. So we treat it how we value it. We undervalue this thing so badly because of that initial cost to get in. And it really comes down to this, that if you had invested, I want you to write this down, owner versus employee mindset. Okay? Okay. We actually had, some of the top, so we actually kind of did, we have this thing called The Wall, which is all these 5-star and up coaches, right? These, people, and Marissa's in there, she knows. But we kind of had this like back and forth, like what differentiates the people that are in this place from the ones. Now, for some people, it's just time, right? They're doing the right things. They just need to do them longer. Okay. So that might apply to some of you. For some of you, maybe that's not even something that resonates that you even want to be. And that's perfectly okay too. I didn't want to be that the first couple of years. It took me time to grow into wanting to be that. Okay. So don't feel, I don't want anybody to feel like if you don't have some kind of a big vision for this, that we don't want you. We need you. It takes all kinds. I mean, maybe your vision is to just go help 5 people this month, and that's perfectly great. Go do that. All right. But it really came down to this owner versus employee mindset. What differentiated the most successful coaches versus the ones that maybe wanted to but weren't having the same level of success was that the most successful ones took complete ownership. like they treated it like they invested 500 grand and that they had to own it in order to, they were running their own store. Do you guys understand that? Okay. Versus, oh, I'm going to show up and be an employee and make my, $12.50 an hour. You guys understand that? So I need you to be really honest with yourself. All right. Which is this. I mean, and we talked about a lot tonight, mostly on the team building side of things. But are you taking an ownership mindset or an employee mindset? Are you expecting ownership results, but living in an employee mindset? You guys understand that? Listen, I have no problem if you expect employee results, okay, and you have an employee mindset. When I get pissed off is when someone comes to me and says, I want to be X and I want this to happen, I want that to happen, and they have these ownership result goals, but an employee mindset to go with it. I think I read that one thing, which is one of my favorite quotes is you can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. It just, it doesn't happen. Does that make sense? Okay. So at the end of the day, here's what I want to tell you guys. Okay. If I'm going to give you a couple takeaways, because we got to wrap this up, it's 9:40, and I promised Marissa I'd be done at 9:45. Okay. How many of you are like, I can't wait for this guy to shut up. I hope he gets off this call because he's driving me crazy. Okay. It's okay if you are. It's fine. I know there's at least 3 or 4 of you that feel that way, and I'm good with it. I'm good with it because I know there's also 3 or 4 of you that are like, hell yeah, let's go do this thing. Let's go rock it out. Those are the ones I'm looking for. You guys understand that? There's a lesson in that. Some things are taught, some things are caught. Hopefully you caught that little lesson. You're not going to make everybody happy, and you got to get okay with that. Okay. So when there's somebody out there that's a negative naysayer that doesn't agree with everything that you're saying or trying to get people to do, 2 words, screw them. Who cares? Because for everyone that doesn't agree, there's going to be somebody who does. That's who you're looking for. You guys understand that? Don't get caught up in worrying about what the other people think. So number 1, write this down. These are at the end of the day, this is what I would tell you to do. Number 1 is this: get really good at setting team building and rank goals. Okay? Team building goals or rank goals. I would just honestly focus on just adding in a layer of non-negotiable as far as how many coaches a month. Because once you do that, you'll start sharing the coach story more often. Do you guys understand that? So like someone like Marissa and I, we don't just think in terms of how many points we get. We think in terms of we're also looking for coaches. We're also looking for people who would make good coaches. We're looking for people who display the green lights of someone who should hear about coaching. And then we're not hesitant to put it in front of them, which comes down to number 2 is this: use deadlines for those goals. Success Club is great because it gives you an immediate deadline, which is the end of the month. Okay. A lot of times for ranks, what work is events, trying to get to a rank by a certain event, right? So I'm going to be X by Summit. I'm going to be X by Super Saturday. So like right now, what I did with my team was I'm trying to get my team just focus on the team building stuff. So we're doing what we call a swarm storm. My team is Team Swarm. That's the name of it. So we're doing a swarm storm, which is nothing but team building for 10 weeks, the last 10 weeks leading up to Summit. Okay, and anybody who does 1 coach a week for 10 weeks gets like a free shirt, and then we have like a little cash incentive for the top people. Does that make sense? Okay, but it's timed, and there's a numerical goal to it, right? So without concrete goals as far as numbers and time frames, it's never going to happen. That's why I say the easiest way to do it for you right now would be this: to set a monthly non-negotiable for how many new coaches in the month. So I would just start with how many. You got 2 more weeks left in June. Okay. I would say, hey, I got to find at least 2 coaches before the end of June. How many of you think that if you went on a mission to look for 2 new coaches before the end of June, that you could probably make that happen if that's what you were focused on making happen? Does that make sense? Right? What you focus on will flourish. What you don't focus on won't. So if you think in terms of, I got to find coaches, guess what you're going to find? Here's what's funny. I never noticed all the Jeeps that drove around until I bought a Jeep. And then I was looking for Jeeps, and I noticed they're everywhere. How many of you have done that, right? You've never noticed the car, and then you buy the car, and then you're driving around, and you're like, well, shit, 10,000 other people have the same damn car. I never realized that. Because before that, you weren't looking. They were there. You just weren't focused on looking for them. You guys understand that? I'm going to tell you this. Your coaches are there. You just haven't figured out how to look for them or why to look for them. And hopefully the foot that I put in your tail tonight will be enough incentive for you to go, maybe I should start looking for some coaches. Okay? Number 3 is this. Learn to share your coach story. How many of you are good at sharing maybe your fitness testimonial or the fitness testimonials of others, right? You know how to share your before and after when it comes to the health side. I did, 21-day fix, and here's my before picture, here's my after picture. This is how I felt before. This is what made me say yes. This is why I'm happy I did. Does that make sense? Okay? We need to learn to share our coach story, okay? I have a little formula for you to create a coach story that I think is money, that I teach to my team. You're welcome to adopt it. Here's, to me, the 5 things that your coach story need to have. And it's no different than any other testimony you create for any other reason. It's this. Number 1 is this. What was life like before you said yes to coaching? And not on the good side, on the bad side. You want to show the bad side of where you were. Does that make sense? Okay? What was it like money-wise? What was it like fulfillment-wise? Where in your life were you lacking? Where was there a need? Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. Number 2, did you hesitate to say yes? If so, why? Admit your fears, admit your hesitations. This is the part of testimonial and storytelling that I think is the most genius. How many of you get objections from people? Like, people are like, well, I just don't think I have the time. Well, that sounds good, but I can't really afford it. How many of you? Okay. This is the part of the story that helps you overcome those objections before they occur. Because here's what I want you to do. I want you to admit that you had the same freaking objections. I've done this with you guys tonight. I told you guys in my coach story that, before I really didn't want to become a coach. I had enough going on. I was super busy doing X, Y, and Z. I didn't really have a goal for coaching when I first started. Does that make sense? So I didn't really want to do it. But I figured, and then I said, I've already lost this weight. People are asking me about it. If I can help them, great. Does that make sense? That's what got me to say yes, which is number 3. Why did you say yes? I call it the moment. Introduce the moment, but don't be like long-winded about it. What was the moment? What was the tipping point reason that got you kind of tipped over to the yes side of things? Number 4 is this. Why are you glad you did? Basically, what has coaching done for you to solve those things that you were struggling with before you said yes to coaching? Okay? I will just tell you that I think, this is where we got to get good. Which, I don't care even if you're making an extra, $100 a month. Okay? Share the financial testimonial. Share the friendship testimonials. I share that all the time. I went from being socially withdrawn because I was obese to now I have friends all over the country. How many of you remember me saying that at the beginning? Man, I made a lot of friends, right? And I shared both the ugly and the good. Does that make sense? Right? Okay. Number 4, why are you glad you did? Number 5 is this, a call to action, which is simply, and you always want to end things with a call to action. How many of you have done this with your fitness self, right? But you've not done it with your coaching self. Does that make sense? Okay. I want you to really pay attention to like some of the top producers, because it takes the same amount of effort for you to share your testimonial on both sides. Does that make sense? It takes the same amount of effort to create it, the same amount of effort to say it, the same amount of words in the call to action at the bottom. Okay. It's just one. And what did I tell you at the beginning? The story that gets told the most wins. So if you want to build a team, you need to tell your coach side of things as well. And you can tell it to your individuals. Even if you're building fitness-wise and you're starting challenge groups, you're doing all that, which I suggest that you do, you still want to be putting coaching in front of those people and sharing. I remember when I was just a challenger, I wasn't sure that I wanted to be a coach. Quite honestly, I didn't think I was fit enough yet to be a coach because my coach was super fit, right? And she was like in the Insanity commercial, and I didn't think that I was her yet, and so I wanted to wait. But the truth was, there were already people asking me about it. I was going to be spending money on Shakeology anyway. I figured, why not save money? And if I can make a little bit extra and break even, that would be great. Tipping point. And here I am 4 months later, so excited that I finally said yes. I can't believe I ever hesitated. It's completely changed my life. Not only have I made some awesome friends and heard the most powerful, influential speaker with a beard and a baseball hat on I'm just playing. I'm just throwing myself in there. That's my own ego wanting to be part of the story. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But you guys understand what I'm saying? How to share that story. So follow those things. Okay? And we just have to get better as a network. And I've had to get my team better at this. I've had to get my team better at this, at presenting coaching to people, at putting coaching in front of people. And I want you to think about this, write this down too, that the majority of people aren't going to say yes the first time they see it. The average person can't say no more than 7 times. Okay? You did not say yes the first time that you saw 21 Day Fix, and you certainly did not say yes the first time you saw coaching. If you did, then you're a rare bird and you're a buyer, and you're what companies freaking go after all the time because you can't say no to things. So you're buying everything all the time, right? You're like, shit, I got to have it. Shit, I got to have it. Shit, I got to have it, right? Okay? So the majority of people aren't that way. The majority of people, they got to see it. Then they got to see it again. Then they got to think about it. Then they got to see it again. And then finally, eventually, something happens in their life, the tipping point moment that gets them to say yes. And that becomes their story. Does that make sense? Okay? So understand something. When you're putting it out there in front of people, you're not putting it out there for the people to sign up right now. You're planting the seed that eventually those people, now they know. Now they know. You know, they know that coaching exists. It's not foreign to them. You guys understand that? So with that said, listen, I have no doubt. I'm looking at this call. You guys have been so engaged. And I could tell that some of you, the majority of you, are sucking up what I'm saying. All right? Hopefully I didn't scare you away from this thing. Like, what's your name? Monica? Monica, you're brand new. Is this your first call?
Yeah, she just signed up like last week.
She signed up like 7 minutes ago.
But she
first call, she's like, holy crap.
Okay, but this girl goes in her coach online office and sees who her upline star diamond is and finds out it's me and goes and finds my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, adds me and reaches out to me. And she's like, I really want to get started. Like, what do I need to do? I have a meeting with my coach on Thursday. I mean, hello, rock star.
That's good. No, those are all good signals. Green light, green light, green light, green light. That's good. So yeah, well, hopefully I didn't overwhelm her in her first call. You know, no sense of starting out slowly. You might as well just get the full blast. So guys, listen, thank you for having me. And honestly, the reason that I'm so passionate about the team building side of this is because I know this, okay? I have a sincere interest in the obesity crisis in our nation. That's just because that's what I come from. That's what I've struggled with. That's what I've committed myself to fighting to. Not everybody's going to be in that same fight. You guys have to choose what your mission is and what's going to motivate you to work. Because I don't do this to make more money anymore because I already make so much money that it doesn't matter. Does that make sense? Okay? So I do this solely for that. And I know this. I can't change obesity alone. Carl Deichler can't change obesity alone. It's going to take an army of people spreading the word. And what's so crazy, though, is I'm already starting to see from 7 years ago till now, you know, I mean, when you have companies like Chipotle pulling GMO products, right? And when you have, when you have like Crisco making coconut oil and selling it in the grocery stores, right? Instead of just lard, you know, I'm already starting to see cultural changes starting to take shape. And I know this, like whenever you see the crack, it's like you got to attack it. So right now, I truly believe that if we as a network of people go out and freaking attack this thing, which means we take this army from 300,000 to 1 million people in the next 12 to 18 months, right? That I truly believe that we can start seeing some drastic things happen culturally in our society to really start shifting that at an even more drastic level. Because it's certainly, you know, as much as we need the treatment side of things because we have so many sick people, I will tell you this, and I just talked to an emergency doctor last week whose wife is a full-time coach, and he said to me, you know, the longer that my wife has been doing this, the more I realize how good this is because we really need to work on the prevention side of what we're doing with people's lives. That's where you and I come in. We're on the prevention side of this thing. All right. So for me, that's why I wanted to come on tonight and talk to you about team building because you can't do it alone. Marissa can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. But I'm telling you right now, if we build a freaking army of people, and that's going to require us to not hesitate to put it in front of people. It's going to require us to not value it at a lower rate than it should be. It's going to require us to truly believe in what we're doing and the cause that we're serving. And for us to say, you know what, I don't give a crap about the the 5 people who are going to judge me. I'm going to put this in front of as many people. It's their freedom of choice, whether they say yes or no. It's up to them if they say yes or no, but I need to learn the skills on how to get this in front of people and share it with as many people as possible. So with that said, I would create your coach story tonight, and I would share it in your team page, right? I would start, because something powerful happens when you start sharing those stories together, and you guys start reading those. You're going to start realizing just how powerful what we have is, because people will start sharing the really personal side of what coaching has done for them. And I think that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to create your coaching story. I want you to go share it in your team page. And Marissa, I want you to take some of those and send them to me. I'd love to read them. Does that make sense? Okay. I would love to read them, but share them with each other, because your fire and your passion will be filled up when you start seeing and feeling the stories of the people that you're surrounded with, and start realizing how real this is. Everybody understand that? So do that for me tonight. And then if you have the courage, share it publicly, put it out there publicly. All right. So with that said, it's getting late, Marissa. I'm sweaty. I need a shower.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Love you.
I'm good.
I appreciate
All right, guys.
Bye, guys. Good night.